guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mariam from Another Book Thought, and I'm here today to do a book tag. Why am I doing a book tag and not posting a vlog? Well, depression has been a little bit up and anxiety, so I wanted to put some content, and I'm good at things that are set, so I thought the tag was the perfect. I think this tag, I'm probably the only one in the whole internet who hasn't done this tag, and it's Jaylen's The Bar and the Bookcase tag, which is named after his channel, so I'm gonna link that below. And for that, I'm drinking a Corona. I am usually a wine drinker because I'm Spanish. Well, I'm not a Spanish, but I live in Spain, so that's what we drink over here. We do like our beers too, but Corona is not a really Spanish drink. But because of the medications and all that I take, it is kind of a lighter beer on me, and I can drink a little bit more. So yeah, we're gonna go for this. Probably not gonna finish this, but yeah. So I tried to choose some of the books that I didn't see around in this tag, but I didn't watch all of it. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. Also, my first choice is a repeat, but you'll see why. So let's go with the drinks, which, by the way, Jaylen, you need to teach me how to make this, because I know 4 or 5 out of here. But let's go old fashioned. It's historical fiction recommendation. So because this is the second time I'm doing this video, I'm not gonna I have to repeat the the recording because I talked a lot. So I'm just gonna go a little bit on what the book is about and why it fits that category. Yeah, so the first one I chose was Hamnet by Maggie or Faro. I know CJ Reeds also did this, but it is because I don't read that much historical fiction. But this one actually doesn't read like historical well, I mean, it is set in Shakespeare's era, but it's not about the era, it's not about Shakespeare, it's retelling about the wife of Shakespeare, Agnes. Also, it's the story of one of his kids, and it's a story about siblings. But most of all, what it is a masterfully written piece of fiction where Maggie O'Farrell is capable of never naming Shakespeare. Just he's a character, but he's not Shakespeare, just so she can really tell the story of this feminist and very cool kick-ass woman at that era, and the beautiful sibling relationship. So if you want something feminist and you want something, you're not a big historical reader but you want to try something new, just I truly recommend that one. Also, sorry if the wind is, yeah. And the second question is a Sidecar, a book with a strong supporting character. So I'm currently reading one which has one of those, but I'm gonna go for one that I've already sat on and it's still in my mind, and that's Bernadine Baristo's Mr. Loverman. So the book is about Barry, but I believe that the main character is Morris. So this is a book about two older men, and it's about a love triangle. It has queer representation, it's fun, all the characters are cool, and I really liked Morris, which is one of the characters, as I said, and he's just such a chilled, you know, how I want to grow up to be. So I love Morris. Yeah, I would pick up this book if you want. Just it's not a light read, but it is a fun read with a very, very good poignant and, you know, thought-provoking bits. So that's that. And then, sorry, I lost it. Okay. Then Manhattan, a book set in New York. So one of the books set in New York that I didn't see around that much here was, sorry, my notes are here, is Jacqueline Woodson's Red at the Bone. It is a thin book, and it is a multi-generational story, which, you know, even if the book is so short, it's just so poignant, and it deals with the decisions that we take and where that leaves us in the end. It has a lot about motherhood and the right to not want to be a mother or doing things differently in the family. You know, I really like those things. And yeah, it talks about race, about class. I really recommend that book. So that's my book set in New York. The Bloody Mary, book that scared you or messed you up. So Jaylen is gonna love this one because, well, first of all, I get scared just by watching The Sixth Sense, so probably not, should not say that in the internet, but I am a very scary person. Less of a monstery kind, but a psychological thrillery, yeah, things that can really happen kind. I really don't. But I did pick up a book that he raved about, and I think CJ did too, and that's the one, the short story collection I Hold a Wolf by Its Ears, and it's written by Laura Vanderberg. This is a book exploring women's trauma due to multiple things. It can be each story. Sorry, my neighbors. Each story is it can be because of grief, it can be because of patriarchy, it can be because multiple things, just trauma in life. But what really does set this book aside is each story is just one after another is so good in how hypnotic they are and how messed up and twisty, and they do get that surreal that it's nearly like a ghost-like experience. So yeah, they're very thought-provoking. They did mess me up. But yeah, that's my messy, kind of a scary choice. Next, we have Espresso Martini, book that kept you reading into the night. So I'm sorry, there's going to be a lot of short story collections, which I've been a big fan the last year. But this one is going to be The Secret Life of the Church Ladies. It is written by Disha, and it's a book that explores women's desires, but in a way that I think it's so clever because it leaves you thinking. Well, each story could be a novel by itself. I don't think there's anyone lacking. I started it at night and I just finished it. It is thin, but I finished it in a row. I needed to hear more the voice of the author. The stories are not in between together, so it doesn't really make sense to keep going, but it was so good. It talks, as I said, about the desires, but what I really liked about it is how it shows how much men underestimate women's powers, even done in a very, how they're capable of, you know, in the end, kind of like bring their power out, and in not as sneaky ways, but in a much subtle ways as the patriarchy does, get what they need. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just, if you haven't picked it up, you should really. It's one of the best, I think, short story collections I've read in a long time, or probably ever. So let's go for the next one. The next one is I'm gonna butcher this, Sazerac, I think, yeah, book that left you disoriented. And this is gonna be funny because I just finished it, I think yesterday or the day after yesterday, and that is Second Place by Rachel Cusk. And up to this day, I'm still disoriented. I saw I loved it. I'll do it in my wrap up and I'll talk about it, but it is a book about in the end, the patriarchy again, which apparently we love here, and the rights that men have that women don't have. It's about motherhood, it's about art, but it's just, the plot line is this woman invites to a remote cabin she has an artist that she likes, and as in his work, and it's just a story of the time that he's there while they live near the cabin in another house. So that's the second place where the artist is, and it was just like a dream, like a feverish dream, because it's a little bit dark, touching in so many matters. I have to thank Rebecca from Rebecca Apes Books, because she got me into the Cusk vibe, and I'm just loving it. But this left me so disoriented that I'd probably, you know, do a better review once I put my thoughts on my Instagram review. So yeah, but that one. Okay, next one. So the next one is actually a drink that I really don't enjoy, which my aunt from since I remember always gets, but I don't really enjoy. It's the Long Island iced tea. So that one is a book that is doing too much bonus points if it works anyways. And for that one, I have Frankenstein by Janet Winterson. So listen up, because this is a weird one. I am gonna put my review on it, spoiler free, on my Instagram. But it's a book that both it's a dual timeline. So you have the very hypnotic classic timeline of actually Mary Shelley writing Frankenstein, and also you have the timeline very, very into technology and futuristic, that it talks artificial intelligence, it has sex bots, there's a lot of themes of transgender there, and it's just, yeah, there's those two timelines, so that's very different. But at the same time, it really does work, and it's just, there's so many things in this book that I can't even like begin to explain, but all of them in the end is a little bit about the obsession that we have to like cheat death and to make this perfection. And it talks a lot about human obsessions about these perfections and all that. And it's a messy book, and you have to really let yourself go with it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I really thought this was a good one. Next, so let me just, yeah. Okay, we're going for Negroni, a book with a love triangle. So this one might not be a love triangle, but I don't read that many romances, and I think all the love triangles that they've already been mentioned. So I was gonna go for a new version of what I feel it is, and that's The Transition Baby by Tori Peter. If you haven't heard about this one, it was longlisted for the Woman Woman Booker Prize, and I hoped it was shortlisted too. It didn't happen, but you know, that's another story. And it's about it's about mostly three characters. That's the love triangle for me, which is Ames, Katrina, and Reese. It is a lot about Reese, but it talks about this transition of Ames, which is the one that goes through that. But it's mostly a story about motherhood and the ways we can do family different, and it's so thought-provoking, and it deals with so many. It's also set in New York, in case you wanted another recommendation, but it deals with so many themes that I urge you to read it. But for me, the most important was how the relationship of these three characters in regards of how a family can be built, and all the conceptions we traditionally have about family, and it's just making you think about it again. And I really liked the relationship in the end. Well, I mean, I liked it, yeah. So let's go for the next one. Baby's book with light, chilled, heartwarming vibes. So for this one I have two, which is weird because I don't read that much of a heartwarming, but because I did do a lot of short stories in this video, I'm gonna say one is a memoir essay by the actress Jenny Slate, This is Little Weirds is that it's just essays about her musings, and it's weird, and sometimes it can even touch a little bit of a fairy tale, but it's just, you know, it's time in Jenny Slate's head, which I truly enjoyed, and it just leaves you with that heartwarming way she looks at life that is just very, I'm gonna use the word hypnotic again. It's just, yeah, you need to see it to read it. I did the audiobook, but I did get myself a physical copy after I decided to put it in this video because I miss reading it. But she reads the audiobook, so it's very good. And then the next one is, I don't know if there's any fans of Horseman, Bojack Horseman, sorry. I don't know if that's how you say it. I have the title in my Spanish Netflix, but Bojack Horseman. His creator wrote, which is Raphael Bob Waksberg, wrote this short story collection with the cool, you know, the Little Weirds was a cool cover. This one is a cool cover, you know, it has an egg, so very trendy. But he wrote a short story collection about all the forms of love, and it's very funny. It's not as dark as the show is, but what I really love about this one, let me show you, is that not just he touches on all the forms of love, he also does the formatting. I read this both here and on audio, and the audiobook is a full cast, and I really recommend it. It's just a fun, it's, some people say it's forgettable. I don't know, I really enjoyed it, so give it a try if you need something fun. Then let's go a little bit faster, but Dark and Stormy, a book that's dark, thrilling, and menacing. Bonus point if the setting matches. So I'm gonna go for maybe an obvious one, but I love this book so much, and that's Otessa Moshfield's Death in Her Hands. So it does take place in the woods, cabin, remote village, and it's a very meta book. So I've already read it 2 times, and I have my copy coming, so I can read it. Well, not 2 times. I read it 1 time, and then I watched through it on audiobook, which is also very good. But this is a book basically about Magda. She's 72. At the beginning of the book, you find out that this is literally the first sentence, so I'm not spoiling anything. She finds a note where they say that there's been a murder and the body's here, but she never finds the body. This is not about that, though. It's not about who killed or the murder. It's so unsettling because it really is about a woman's descent into madness. That's what I took from it. But it's a book that left me, it's very dark, and it left me, it could also be the dream one, the question of the dream, but it left me questioning a lot of things, and I just needed to read it again. And it's just very dark, but at the same time so easy to read. Yeah, I really recommend it. And my last the last question is a martini, which is actually one of my favorite drinks, and it's a classic recommendation. And for that, I could go for I don't read a lot, but I do read Virginia Woolf and Sylvia Plath a lot. But I thought I was gonna go actually for the Diaries of Sylvia Plath, because we know I'm a channel that is all about mental health, and she was actually the first one with Virginia Woolf. I must say Virginia Woolf was the first one, but I like more the musings on Sylvia Plath, that did a diary where they pinpoint that, you know, that part of mental health. And it's just, they both did the 2 of the novels that I love, the Stream of Consciousness, so it was an extra stream of consciousness just from the source. So yeah, I loved it. And that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm gonna tag one person that I thought maybe didn't do this, which was Dominic from Sweet Baby Cherub. He's a new channel, check him out if you haven't. And yes, I hope to get a little bit more consistent videos out. And yeah, I hope you like this one. Thank you. Bye, guys.